I just happened to run into one of my wonderful neighbors. Say hello to the camera.
Hey man, what's up, Cameron? How you doing today?
What's your name?
My name is Herbert King.
Herbert King. We're going to be talking about voter suppression today
Okay.
in this YouTube video. And we know right now in Georgia, the Attorney General is running for governor, and he has been engaged in voter suppression since he has been in office.
Right.
So we've got to stop this.
Right.
So I just want everybody to know, we see you have some nice folks over here. There's a gentleman over here. How you doing, sir?
How you doing?
Uh-huh. I see you.
You got me on camera?
Yes, I do. We got you on video, brother. On video.
Okay.
All righty, we're going to pause for a second as I go walking toward the park. I'm walking up to the park to vlog today. I'm right across the street from my polling place, and today we're going to be talking about voter suppression. Voter suppression, which is a major issue in the coming midterm elections, and in Georgia, where I live, the gubernatorial elections, where the candidate who is one of the candidates who's running for governor is the present Secretary of State, and has been engaged in voter suppression tactics since he has been in office. And we're going to be discussing that today. This is definitely not New York's Central Park, but the Central Park at Brooklyn in Brookhaven, Georgia. Hello. I hope everyone is doing well today. I am vlogging today. This is actually my first time doing this, but I decided to do it, and I'm going to be talking today about voter suppression here in the state of Georgia. We have the midterms election coming up, but we also have the gubernatorial election coming up. And we have two candidates. The winner of the Republican primary, Brian Kemp, who is currently the state attorney general, which presents many, many issues given his horrible record on voting rights. And we have the chance for our first black female governor in the nation's history, Stacy Abrams. And the Republican Party is doing everything it can to keep that from happening. Now, there's a story in the Washington Post on the 18th of August, a couple of days ago. And it starts off as follows. Voting rights activists in Georgia say they will launch a petition drive in an effort to collect enough signatures of registered voters to block a proposal to close in more than 2/3 of the polling precincts in a predominantly black county ahead of the fall's general elections. Why would they do that? The county is Randolph County. It's a rural community 2.5 hours south of Atlanta. Why in the world would they do that? They don't want voters to vote. This is what is known as the Black Belt of the South, which runs through Georgia, Alabama, into Mississippi. And it's really talking about black dirt. It's a farming community. And these folks don't want black folks to vote because folks vote overwhelmingly Democratic. And the demographics of Georgia are changing. We have a large black population, which the state has always have. We have a large Hispanic population, which has grown in the past 30 years or so. And we have a growing Asian population. All of these demographics tend to vote Democratic. This coming Friday, there's going to be a vote on the proposal to shut down 7 of 9 voting places in this heavily black Randolph County. Their excuses are they're in disrepair. The polling places are in disrepair. I wonder why. I mean, this is crazy. And understand, the Secretary of State, who is in control of this election process, who runs the board, is the Republican candidate for governor. I mean, it's horrible. This is horrible. He has been opposed to voter registrations for years. The Democratic candidate, Stacy Abrams, the black woman I mentioned, a number of years ago started a new Georgia project, which was launched to get people to register to vote. It worked largely in the communities of people of color, though she's no longer involved in that. But she has said the Secretary of State's office has used discriminatory tactics to keep tens and thousands of potential voters off of the roll. He claimed that they were trying to fraudulently put people on the roll, but his own investigation found that was not true. And I mean, the Washington Post article goes on to talk about it. Now, in a August 11th New York Times article, it's entitled Brian Kemp, the Republican candidate for governor, enemy of democracy, an expert on voter suppression. He will keep Georgia red. And this article talks about the same thing. I mean, how over the years, voter suppression has kept Georgia a red state. And quoting from the article, voter suppression keeps Georgia a red state. Since 2005, Republicans have controlled the state legislature as well as the governor's office. Now most of the congressional districts are Republican, so nearly 64% of the state representatives and 66% of the senators are Republican. The political power, however, bears no relation, and this is the key point. The political power bears no relations to the state's demographics, in other words, the population. Whites make up less than 60% of the state's population. Of course, they're 90% of the people who voted in the Republican primary. The districts, however, are gerrymandered. Gerrymander is a phrase to talk about districts that are set up arbitrarily and capriciously to favor one political party. It comes from a district in Massachusetts back 100 and some years ago, which looked like this little animal, which was called the gerrymander. And that's been a model that's been used to describe districts which are politically drawn. Now understand, these districts violate the Voting Rights Act of 1965. But even with these gerrymandered districts, black turnout has been increasing. And it's clearly now being driven in large part because of dislike for the current president, Donald Trump. And John Oliver on the Daily Show during the campaign came out with this hat, which I love, "Make Donald Trump Again." This is when the Trump family originally was named Trump back in Germany, but they changed their name. During the 50s, they claimed to be of Swedish origin. I mean, Trump and his family have been lying for years, as well as discriminating against blacks and Hispanics for years. I first discovered it in 1973. That's how I first heard of Trump when Nixon, of all people, his Justice Department, sued Trump for discrimination. President Trump weighed heavily in the Republican runoff for Kemp, knowing that Kemp would help keep the state Republican. There have been issues of cybersecurity in the voting in Georgia. They're still using Windows 2000 server on their software 18 years later, which is an eternity in terms of computer technology. The Department of Homeland Security warned Kemp in 2016 that the Georgia state machines were subject to be hacked. But Kemp didn't do anything about it. When federal monies were appropriated, he refused to take them for years. And after the hacking that we know happened in 2016 during the presidential election, rather than putting the state on alert, Kemp did nothing. Kennesaw State University in Cobb County here in Georgia, Metro Atlanta, which does support for the election machinery, let him know that there was a problem. But Mr. Kemp said he saw nothing was there. And later, the documented records were erased from the Kennesaw State Library. So what does all this mean? It means that we're in danger. CNN reported that 6 million Georgia voter records were exposed due to a hack of the Georgia election system. Why does the gubernatorial candidate, Brian Kemp, not want to do anything about this? It's quite simple. He wants to win the governor's chair. And he knows that if blacks vote, if Hispanics vote, and if Asians vote in numbers, he will lose. So the question for us today is, what can we do about it? What can you do about it? I'd like you to post your ideas and comments below in the comment sections of this video. This is important. Mobilize your friends and relatives to get out and vote for the gubernatorial candidate, for Stacy Abrams. If you live in the 6th district, as I do, we have Lucy McBeth, who is running as a Democrat, the same district that John Ossoff almost won last year. We need to vote, but we also need to get politically involved. We need to poll watch. We need to get involved in elections. And candidates that are not interested in minority votes, whether they be Democrat or Republican, we need to punish them. Yes, I said we need to punish them by not voting for them, by withholding our votes from those. We have candidates right here where I live in the 40th district, where I'm located right now, Georgia's 40th district, which is the State House district. And we have a candidate that's running this term. I'm not voting for her. I'm going to write in someone else in that name, because I refuse to vote for someone who is not going to represent me. And I would urge everyone there. Okay, that's it. I will see you in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see how this came out. Again, this is an experiment. I'm doing this outside. I've never done this before, so hopefully it came out well. You have a good day, and November 6th, get out there and respond to Donald Trump. Say, heck no, this is enough. We don't want it anymore.